left, right.
Yo, thank you for joining SipTalk. Today's episode, just kind of some top line headline stuff James and I are talking about. Plus, James is in his new place, so he'll be filming from the new location, the new home in Charleston, South Carolina. Check out the episode. Let me know what you think. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Crisis film.
Cheers.
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 Welcome to episode 91 of SipTalk. My name is Justin DiGiulio. My co-host is James the Bosnator Boswell, accountant extraordinaire, philosopher, bartender, and professional referee out of Charleston, South Carolina. I am in the state flanking Manhattan, that is New Jersey. James just took a trip to Walmart. I haven't been to Walmart in a really long time. I would say maybe a year, which is weird because, before living in New York City, Walmart was kind of like your go-to place for pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
But New York City has banned Walmart. Did you know that?
I didn't think it was banned. I thought it was that Walmart didn't want to try and put a store down there because they knew that the workers would immediately try and unionize, and Walmart's all non-union.
It was my understanding that New York City banned Walmart, which there's Target in New York City, and there's other stores like that, but there's no Walmarts in the city. So, and did you ever watch that Walmart movie?
No.
Where Walmart came in and basically they just show a bunch of different stories of a bunch of different cities that Walmart came in and like all the businesses went out of business, and a lot of, the local economy just kind of went in the shitter because people weren't making money. They weren't getting health benefits.
I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. It might actually be banned. They might, like, the city might not allow it to start a store.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And that, I don't know which mayor came up with that, but
according to this, every time they propose a site, the local residents demand the city council members reject the bid.
Interesting. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I got a handful of headlines I want to cover, and then a few questions about the move for you. I'm pretty excited to learn more details. Some we'll learn off air, just because. But your background looks a little cleaner, a little crisper. That's
It'll
good.
get better once I actually have a chance to unpack everything. Because now, like, I've thrown out a ton of stuff, and I want to try it. Like, for the last year, knowing that I was going to move, I just stopped caring about little things that became medium things. And like, I'm gonna be blowing this up all anyways, so why spend the time reorganizing everything when I'm gonna have to just blow it up again if I do so? So now is an opportunity for me to take a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't touched in years that was set out for some reason at one point and just leave it in a box. And if I need to get it, I can find it in the box.
Fair enough. Hopefully you'll start unpacking boxes soon, start organizing.
I've done a ton of work already. Like, I was astounded how many clothes I had, and they're all put away.
Dude, the clothes thing is like, yeah, because I basically live off of like the 5 or 6 items of clothing that are pretty much on the top. And I'll tell you one thing about living in New Jersey is that we sent out dry cleaning last week. Now in New York City, the dry cleaner was downstairs in my building. So I would drop it off at the dry cleaner on my way out. But I could just leave it at the desk or they would pick it up at the door. And then it's done usually the next day. And it's delivered to the front desk. And on my way in, they just hand me the clothes. In New Jersey, it took 7 full days. So this is the 8th day that the dry cleaners had to close, and they were done today. I was saying, that's...
What do you have dry cleaned?
Work clothes, white shirts, and...
you don't just wash your white shirts?
Sometimes, but depending, but also especially the dress pants. I do wash the white shirts the majority of the time, but every once in a while, they're white, so like a stain or something like that. And then get this, so going into let me back up. Going into coronavirus, when they shut the gyms down, I was really bummed. I started running a lot, and then I hurt my foot, and then I was borderline depressed because I like to be active, and I couldn't do anything, and there wasn't much to do. So I was like, what am I going to do about fitness? Like I could buy, some. First off, you couldn't buy dumbbells or weights, and it wasn't like in my 700 square foot apartment in Manhattan, I was going to get like actual exercise equipment and like real heavy weights. So I'm not like a fucking kangaroo. I'm doing jumping jacks and bullshit inside my apartment. And like, that's not the type of workout that I like to do anyways. I like to weight train, and then I like to run and sometimes bicycle. Bicycling last summer wasn't possible because everybody in their fucking extended family was on a bicycle in New York City, which means if you go more than 12 miles an hour, you will kill a small child when they like tilt and turn on their bike. So bicycling was bullshit, and I hurt my foot, so I couldn't run. Long story short, I couldn't work out the way I wanted to. I started getting a bit depressed, and I heard somebody somewhere in a podcast or something, YouTube video, kind of contextualize things and say, look, everybody's kind of putting their lives on hold, and if you got to put your fitness on hold for a few months and just let things go and then just get back to it afterwards, that's what you got to do. So I just I kind of put the fitness thing on hold, and because the gyms were closed and I couldn't run, and those are the only things I like to do. So I just didn't stress about it for basically the last 9 months, or 9 of the last 12 months. But I had to buy some new suit jackets because I didn't fit into my old clothes, and I actually burst a seam in a jacket about a month ago, which was a new larger size jacket. So when that hit, I was pretty bummed. But at least I told you I haven't been drinking as much, and I've been trying to eat a little cleaner. So I burst the seam in this jacket. I haven't worn it for about a month, and it just came back from the dry cleaners, and now it's too big. So kind of cool, but also I kind of sad because I've been waiting on this jacket to come back. So now it's got to go back to the tailor and actually get taken in again. So although this time it'll probably be a different place. But that was just my 2 cents on.
Let's hit some headlines.
Dieting and being in shape. So look, I hit some Drudge Report. I also got this new thing I subscribed for. It's called Social Animal, and you can basically type in different topics, and it will share with you the biggest headlines or what's shared the most or commented on the most on Twitter or something like that. So I was checking some stuff out. There was a defund the police protester. I don't know what city it was in, but they decided to scale a building and then fell off the building. So I watched this video. It was very painful to watch. The guy got up to basically the second floor and tried to climb on to like the overhang that hangs over the doorway. And he just slipped and basically fell and broke his hip, which was kind of shitty to watch.
I don't like watching videos of people getting injured.
I get a weird tingly feeling in my balls every time I watch somebody about to like face plant or some shit. That bothers me when I watch that shit. But also I don't get off on watching people bust their ass. Like that's not something I enjoy doing.
Like videos of like people falling over like clumsy things where there's no injury, that can be funny. But when you can tell that someone was actually hurt.
The actual hurt thing is like, and most of the time you don't know.
You can kind of tell because like there's a great
a lot
video.
of times I just cut off,
There's a great video of like some kids playing indoor soccer, and a kid like takes a shot and then like hits a kid in the head, and the ball bounces back to him. So he kicks it again, and it misses him, and it hits the wall, and the kid turns around, and it comes off the wall and hits the kid in the nuts.
All right.
Like no permanent injury, just
exactly. Those are funny ones. There was a comment about me skipping breakfast. I wasn't intentionally skipping. I made a comment about how typically if you want to change for the better or you want to do something, this is a post I made on TikTok. that you have to sacrifice something in your life. Like, remember we were talking about the Olympics, one of the episodes last summer, and we were talking about how there's a great deal of sacrifice that goes into being excellent. And if you want to be great at something,
That's basically all you can do.
You have to sacrifice. Yeah. If you want to be an Olympic athlete, that is literally, it's your full-time job and then some. Not only are you training, but you're dieting and you're living that life.
Yeah. And you're not going out. You don't have friends.
No, I mean, my only thinking on that, conversely, is that if it's like a newer sport, you don't have as much competition. So like, you just have to be decent at it. but I think for the most part, to get to the Olympics, most of them are more popular sports.
Makes me think of a story. This is, I think, in the 80s. There are some English guys in a bar in England that got drunk, and we're talking about how there are no like world champions of that the English aren't world champions of anything. So they invented a sport in that bar so that they could say that there was an English world champion of something.
Yeah.
And the sport was something like toe wrestling or something. So like you think like thumb wrestling, but with toes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this bar then became like the world championship for toe wrestling. And but then a couple years later, a guy from Canada came over and won.
Oh, that's so shitty. But that's my point. If it's a newer sport, for the most part, you don't have to be excellent at it. But that's my thought on that toe wrestling. You think it really was toe wrestling? Because if not, like, I'd really like to figure out what sport it was.
Let's Google.
But look, so I got some other. You hear they caught this guy that was throwing Molotov cocktails at one of the George Floyd protests.
Yeah, no, 1974. The game was invented by 4 drinkers at Ye Old Royal Oak Inn in Welton, Staffordshire in 1974, bemoaning the fact that the United Kingdom struggled to produce any world champions. And it's very similar to arm wrestling, but you use your feet. And
but it's called toe wrestling.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on from that one. Let me hit you with some more.
I'm just amazed that I was able to get that right.
I feel like that might not be something that you'd easily forget. All right, I got you another headline though. Are you tuned back in with me, or are you still on the internet?
No.
All right. I was saying they caught this guy that was throwing Molotov cocktails at one of the protests last year. You heard about this guy throwing Molotov cocktails?
No.
Did we ever make any Molotov cocktails?
I
feel like that was something.
No, we never made like an actual, because the thing is we didn't want to have broken glass to clean up.
That would have been a giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah, we covered our tracks pretty well, despite the fact that burning gasoline leaves an incredibly unique smell. But
it's funny because my mom listens to this podcast on Facebook, and a couple of weeks ago she listened to the podcast. I don't know what we were talking about, basically lighting shit on fire. And she's like, no wonder every time I went to gas up the lawnmower, the gas tank was empty in the garage.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that
right. But yeah, we were smart enough to not leave broken glass, because like your mom drives out of the driveway and has 2 flats.
Or anyone. Oh, I guess I don't know if we were driving at the time.
No, this is before we had driver's licenses.
Yeah, so we were licensed to play with gasoline and light shit on fire on us. But no, so they caught this guy throwing Molotov cocktails, which is good. The vast majority of the protesters were nonviolent. Obviously, there's some crazy shit that happened, but there's been a lot of talk about George Floyd lately. Have you been following any of this?
The trial?
Yeah.
A little bit. I can't, like, the headlines get updated once or twice a day based on whatever testimony happened. And while I'm at work, if I'm waiting for a program to load or something, I'll usually quick and flick to like Google News just to see what some headlines are. Like read just the headlines for a minute and a half, go back to work. And so I'll occasionally catch the headlines for what's going on in the trial, but I'm not following it all that closely.
What is bothering me about the whole trial is where the focus is. I think the trial it shouldn't be that complex of a case to try.
Here's the video. Okay, case closed.
Well, I mean, they watched this guy use excessive force, and as a result, the suspect died. But they're going into like just total character defamation on George Floyd,
Well,
and
what else do you have as the defense?
but that's my point. Is it has not the any. A while back I heard about like some area being named George Floyd Square, and like that's great in
That's
remembrance
probably
of him.
like the intersection right in front
Or,
of the
yeah,
store.
and that would be a reasonable place to name it. But I don't think that there's a lot of people going out there saying this was a terrific citizen, upstanding member of society. He didn't live a public life. He was just a dude. You know, I guess he used some drugs, or his girlfriend used some drugs, something like that. A lot of people do drugs.
Yeah, and he passed a counterfeit $20 bill.
And but who knows if he even knew it was counterfeit? Doesn't matter. It's so.
The point is, should you get killed for passing a $20 bill?
And that's I don't think all this bullshit has nothing to do with a fake $20 bill. It has nothing to do with drugs. It has nothing to do with he could be a piece of shit.
Okay, but again, put yourself in the shoes of a defense lawyer. What case do you have?
But how are they even?
No, what case do you have?
You don't have a case.
So if you don't have a case, then what do you do?
I guess
you have to start making shit up. And
but the point is, the media is buying into this, and
because it's sensational. The media is not in the game of truth. It's what gets people to click on a headline, what gets people to tune in and stay through the ad break. And that's going to be sensational headlines and people that and character traits and drama.
The media should rather be saying the defense is arguing that George Floyd was a shitty person. They're not defending the act. And really it's police brutality, and there's an aspect of racism. But really the overlying thing here is the police brutality.
Okay. Here's an old saying for lawyers. It's, if the facts are on your side, pound the facts. If the law is on your side, pound the law. If neither the facts or the law are on your side,
pound the table.
Pound the table.
Yeah, man. I don't think that they should be bringing up the history of George Floyd and all the mistakes.
What else can they do?
But I think, and we're talking about it. Obviously, there's some people that listen to us. I think there needs to be more conversation. Obviously, we don't have as many followers as big media, and there's probably a good reason for that. We're definitely not sensationalists, but I think it's important to have a discussion that it doesn't matter if George Floyd was Tom Cruise, or if he was a bum on the street or somewhere in between. That's irrelevant to the fact that a cop could kill you in the street through excessive force.
Right. But I think that's what the prosecution is focusing on.
Well, here's what Cheryl on TikTok just said. Putting the victim on trial is not the answer here. And that's George Floyd literally has very little to do with this entire case.
No, she's completely right. But again, what you have to think about it from the perspective of the defense. I'm not on the defense's side. I think that the cop is guilty and he should go to prison. But if I were his defense lawyer, then I would be trying to come up with any reason, any justification whatsoever, because the way that the legal system works is you just need to have reasonable doubt. And if you can create reasonable doubt by trying to make the jury believe that George Floyd might have been a threat because of drug use or bad character in the past or whatever. Look,
I get what you're.
I'm looking at a case that I'm going to lose, and I'm going to lose horribly. So I need to come up with whatever gives me the best chance.
I'm not arguing.
And I'm not being paid to be a good person here. I'm being paid to be a lawyer defending someone who killed a man in cold blood on video with pretty much impunity. And so if I'm the defense lawyer, I've got to come up with something. And that's probably the best that the defense can do. Give me a better argument that the defense has.
No,
you're
the
defense lawyer for George Floyd. What are you going to say?
I think the point that you're making is that the defense needs to do something. and this is what they've chosen to do. So
What else? What other choice do they have? That's what I'm asking.
they don't. And then and a defense attorney, for whatever they're being paid, I'm sure it's a decent amount of money. They're got to argue something. So you're right, but it just, to me, I think it sucks.
Well, that's what a trial is. Trials suck. Nobody enjoys being in a trial because it just means that all this stuff gets dragged out and thrown in public view, and nobody really wins in a trial.
Well, sometimes they do, but not trials like this.
Who wins? Who wins here? Like, George Floyd's dead.
Well, yeah, but
he's not coming back.
A lot of people want some justice, seeing this.
Right, but let's think about this. The police officer goes to jail. His family's destroyed. His life is destroyed.
Well, I get
police
it.
Police racism still exists. Police are still going to be doing shitty things. Yes, there's some modicum of accountability demonstrated by this trial, but this is a situation that never should have happened, and sure, we have to deal with it. But does anybody win here?
The point is, the conversation needs not be around George Floyd's character. It needs to be on police reform and better policing. And I think,
right, but for the purposes of the trial, it's not about police reform.
Dude,
it's
look,
about what it's. What
I get it. I know, and I'm not talking.
What,
I'm not talking about what it's about. I'm talking about what it should be about, and that's,
that's not what the trial should be about. That's what public policy should be about.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what we should be talking about. And I could tell you, walking through Midtown Manhattan literally every single day, witnessing the cops on the street and then all the homeless drug users on the street, and just kind of seeing this, I don't know what you would call it, but almost like juxtaposition of the police, which everybody hates right now, and then these obnoxious, so there was a what do you call it, those big garbage trucks, not garbage truck, but like the you can order it to your house, they drop it off, big dumpsters. There's a huge dumpster on the street in front of this hotel, right,
probably doing construction or something.
Well, the hotel restaurant went out of business, which fucking blows. It was on the 5th floor, but it was a nice rooftop restaurant. And is
that the one right next to your office?
Yeah, we've been there before.
And that restaurant's closed?
Yeah, they closed down. And what they had done was, unless they're remodeling, but I'm pretty certain they're closed. They had taken all this outdoor furniture, which I happen to be in the market for the house, and they had thrown it all into this dumpster. And I was thinking, like, damn, this is like
they just probably flew it from 5 floors up.
No, they were carrying it out.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. I would have thrown it from 5 floors up.
Yeah, I probably would have too, but there's laws and they would have gotten in a lot of trouble. But the homeless people were having a fucking field day, ripping all this garbage out of the dumpster in the middle of the street. And I mean, had I had my truck there, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to take some of this shit. But
you would have been homeless for a day too.
These guys were just like grabbing shit out of the truck and chairs and benches and just sitting on it doing drugs in the fucking street. It was the homeless people it's a really, there's no good solution on this right now, and it sucks. It's
Christmas
wild.
Comes early.
It's just wild to walk around. But yeah, but what are these guys going to do? Drag it and sleep on a wicker bench on the fucking subway?
It's better than what they were sleeping on before, which was the sidewalk.
Oh man. Let's see. Let me see what else I got. So Smirnoff has a new pink lemonade vodka flavor. A small headline, but I thought that was somewhat relevant to us. I figure that I will be at least one party this summertime where a pink lemonade vodka makes an appearance.
What are the demographics of the people that buy pink lemonade vodka?
Well, do you buy Smirnoff?
No.
Me neither. But I feel like when we were younger, we probably would have. But
but like there's just the Smirnoff regular triple distilled vodka, which anybody can buy, and that's a pretty neutral drink. But I'm thinking, who's the person that sees pink lemonade vodka and says that's a product I want to have? And I suggest that is white chick shit.
It probably is white chick shit. But here's what happens, because this is something I love how my brain works when I see it. When I see commercials or even like cigarette ads and commercials for shit like this, that just they paint you like this lifestyle or you'll watch a commercial where a bunch of people are at a party and they're opening Smirnoff, and you want to be like those people. So you do and buy the things that they have. And that's how the marketing campaigns work. So
Yeah, it's ad populum.
yeah, and I'm curious what the ads for this vodka. I didn't find any ads except for this like pinkish, almost rainbowy looking bottle of Smirnoff. Definitely flavored vodka is not one of my go-tos for really anything. I like a little cherry vodka with some Diet Coke, and that's just kind of a signature drink I've had for many years. But I drink that very infrequently because cherry vodka is so sweet. So
Yeah, I don't do flavored vodkas, although there are two flavored vodkas that I think are worthwhile, and that's going to be like citrus vodka, like a lemon vodka, because it's not sweet.
mhm.
And then the other is vanilla vodka, again, not sweet.
Okay. I was thinking like a Van Gogh vodka or something, which I think is like a
No,
chocolate.
no, Van Gogh's espresso.
Okay. All right.
I personally hate coffee, so
How do you hate coffee, man? That's the best thing ever.
I just don't like the taste.
I love the taste of coffee.
All right, well then you can enjoy your Van Gogh. But for flavored vodkas, when I was at the bar, those were the two flavored vodkas that I used the most. Vanilla vodka is nice because the vanilla is a pretty neutral flavor, but it can add some smoothness to a drink. And unless you really go heavy with it, or it's a very vanilla forward flavored vodka, it's not going to be an overwhelming taste in the drink. It just kind of adds a smoothness to it that I really liked. So I use vanilla vodka quite a bit.
Ooh, I have to try it. I got a question for you though. What are you drinking?
Bush Ice. I had a shot of whiskey when I got back from Walmart. I really wanted to do the cast at the bar, but the bar is all mirrors, and
Yeah.
it's got this cool bar lighting, like this track lighting on top that hits the mirrors, so it's really well lit. But for the podcast, it's too well lit, and the problem is, since it's all mirrors, it's all backlit. Now it's not backlit when you're actually standing there, but
Yeah.
for the way that the camera picks it up, it's all backlit.
Yeah.
So I looked at it, I was like, this looks awful.
Well, that's what I was saying. Get some dedicated podcast space. What I think we should do is we should have someone from the podcast who's into design help you design some podcast space, or maybe help you with the living room. James, you told me that you were kind of having a debate as to whether or not to put the pool table in the garage or put the pool table in the living room. And
It isn't settled yet.
it's not settled yet. I was thinking, because the bar opens to the living room. So anybody who's listening, check this out. James obviously just bought this house, just moving in, first podcast from the new house, lots of space. Came out of a 2-bedroom apartment. Now you're in a 3-bedroom house with a living room and an enclosed garage. It's a 2-car garage basically, but a half section of the garage is not accessible by garage door.
It would be tough to get 2 cars in there because you'd have to like get 1 car in there and then kind of like Austin Powers it in and then pull the other car in.
Yeah, so it's definitely space that you could do something with, and that's not by putting a car there. So
Cars there right now.
Well, not on I'm saying on the other side of it.
It would be tough to fit
Yeah,
a
that's
pool
my
table
point. So
and a car in there.
Both in total garage, a car and a pool table. You're saying?
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Okay, all right. Well, so you got a big garage and you get the living room, and I was been thinking about it. I'm thinking maybe the garage would be a better place for the pool table, but also it depends on the temperature in the wintertime of that garage space.
The garage gets heat.
And how comfortable it is in terms of.
I'm more concerned about how cool it gets during the summer, because there are nights in Charleston where it doesn't get below 80 degrees outside. Now the garage gets central air.
That's cool.
So it could be a decent spot to play at night. During the day, it would probably be too hot because the central air is fighting a losing battle. But because the garage isn't really insulated, because who cares?
Yeah. Well, but
Um,
also you want to have some. It needs to be comfortable out there, so you're gonna want to have some chairs or something or
Well, if we
something.
were to get rid of the car in there, we've got the garage has tons of shelving and stuff. So we've got if we move the car, there's a lot of open space of just cement and garage.
But I'm saying like chairs and something to be comfortable for when you're not the one playing pool.
Hmm.
But we have Emily from my office who's saying that keep the garage for the cars and utility space, put the pool table in the living room. But
That's what I've been arguing for. That's
well,
that's been my stance, and I'm
Emily,
starting to get outvoted on it. But
Emily,
thankfully, I've got Emily on my side.
yeah, Emily's got your back. So, um, I mean, I think it's going to give you too much of a bachelor patty feeling. You're not going to have that comfortable living room space.
But what am I?
Sure, but are you and your brother going to be living there for the next decade?
After the experience of moving this weekend,
All right.
I am not moving in the near or longer term future. If I do move, I'm leaving all this shit behind and I'm buying new stuff somewhere else.
Dude, moving sucks. I get it. Like I totally
But yeah, I don't want to get married or have kids. So for this place to have a bachelor pad feel, well, let's not false advertise here.
you get another comment here. Let's see. He can put a big screen in the garage. That's one. And then I'm sorry, guys, I can't see the names making the comments. A good pool table should not be in a garage where it's open to heat and humidity.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
look,
and also like the pool table right next to the bar, it just fits. We've already got a dartboard up next to the bar.
that's dangerous. You don't want somebody to throw a dart at the mirrors.
Yeah, there's probably a good foot or so at least to miss to the left before.
I'm a really bad dart player, man.
Yeah, so we're just not going to let people that are terrible at darts play.
All right, we got another one for you. Headline wise, Caitlyn Jenner considering running for the California governor. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's totally viable.
My head hurts.
We're gonna have to bring your brother in. So the thing is, I could tell you exactly
that's such a profoundly stupid thing.
What? You don't know about her politics.
Here's
where my head went, and I'm a bit ashamed to say this, but I can only imagine if my head thought this way, that a million other people's heads are going to think this way. So basically, I read the headline: Caitlyn Jenner considering running for California governor, and I instantly just thought, oh, I wonder if she still is a dick, and which is bad, I know, but that's my thought. That's my thought process was, and then I thought, I wonder what her politics are, because that's really the only thing that matters. But I am very curious what her politics are. So, and somebody that's been through, I don't know if she's had a full sex change.
Why would you want to know?
I don't want to know, but
well, then don't ask.
That's just where my head went. But my point is, probably somebody who's been through some adversity and lived at times a difficult life and at times a very good life, but probably somebody.
When did they live a difficult life?
What's that?
When did Bruce Jenner live a difficult life? When he was training for the Olympics?
A lot of sacrifice involved in being an Olympic athlete, but also deciding to do a gender change or something like that, and probably someone who would have a lot of empathy for your many Californians. And so, but I honestly think it just comes down to her politics. That's all.
I think it's a terrible idea. I don't think that they were a good person before the sex change. I don't think that they're a good person after the sex change.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Caitlyn Jenner. But definitely a headline that was intriguing for me to want to bring up. So a couple other things I want to talk about. Two things. I want to get into what you got going on home decor wise. I want to get into kind of what your next couple of plans are. But then also, before we get there, our recent podcast episode 90, which I believe was called, just the title was, should I get the vaccine? Something along those lines.
Yeah. Where me and the Derv were giving you shit for not getting the vaccine, and we're going to continue to do so until you get it.
But it got pulled. YouTube took it down.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know exactly why, but
Probably something you said.
It's very likely was something I said. I was 30% of the conversation. It was, yeah. You can't see on the screen here, but they took it down. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our medical misinformation policy. We removed the following content from YouTube.
Hey, that means we get viewers.
But I think it just happened automatically. But dude, I'm bummed about that. Like I'm pretty seriously.
I'd respond and ask them why, because.
Well, I can appeal it, and I need to actually listen to
appeal it
episode and figure out what grounds are to appeal it. But I thought we were having I was sharing my perspective where a lot of people will agree with me, given it's unfounded, and everyone probably should get the vaccine. And there's nothing bad about the vaccine. They're not implanting microorganisms or whatever it was into your body. But people have all these fucked up ideas about it. So I'm just not that motivated to do it. Cheryl,
there's lots of things that I'm not motivated to do that I still do.
There must be some level of motivation or disincentive for not doing. And that's all I said, is there should be some incentive or disincentive. And then I'm down. Like,
What does Cheryl have to say?
She just said she got her first shot, which one of the headlines I read today was many, many, many people are not getting their second shot, which, that does not surprise me.
I'll tell you that I felt like complete garbage after getting my second shot.
I've had a few people in my office that really got knocked out. One of the guys had to leave the office yesterday. He got the shot on Sunday, and halfway through the day on Monday had to leave because he was just feeling like crap. So
it goes away after about a day. I got my shot at about 4:00 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I felt okay until I went to sleep, and then I woke up the next morning, and it was like I had 8 beers the night before, and I had only had 2, and I was just headachy, kind of fevery, and super tired. I hadn't slept very well. It was like a hangover, and I went to work, and I was there for about 3 hours. My boss comes in and says, "You look like death." I was like, "I feel like death." So I only worked for about 3 hours, went home, and immediately went to sleep.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, it is a vaccine. It's a pretty potent vaccine, and I mean, it is what it is. But I don't think I think for the greater good, it would be good if people got the vaccine.
Start with yourself.
I'm convinced I had it already, so I don't know. But also, I'm worried about holding out, and then if they require people to get some type of passport, then I'm going to have to get in a long line of people, which I do not want to be doing. All right. So you have a clunky keyboard, man. That's not good.
Mechanical keyboard.
So let's get back to next steps with the house. So you're contemplating the pool table. You and Emily want to put it in the living room.
Pool table is a little bit farther down the line because it's not going to be cheap, and we're all hurting on money right now because moving's expensive and just buying and stocking the house. And I'm probably going to be dropping at least $1,000, probably closer to $1,500 after it's all done, with various repairs and upgrades to the house with a contractor. And the contractor's been great. I've got nothing. He's done great work, and he's charged a reasonable amount. But it's just been a lot of work of a whole bunch of let's make things better. Stuff like installing a range hood, KitchenAid cabinets, fixing some electrical stuff, fixing some window trim, all these little things that.
Well, look, I want to give you a tip on the pool table, because pool tables are not cheap. You are correct on that. Have you ever bought a piano, a real piano?
No.
Have you ever sold? I answered the question, but have you ever sold a piano? So piano is very expensive to buy, very impossible to sell. So a lot of people end up just giving away pianos. Pianos are worth a lot of money, but you have to find a buyer for a used piano. So you can look up almost any time on Craigslist and find free pianos. Yet people still spend thousands of dollars on pianos. The issue is really the transportation of the piano. So similar to pianos, but not to the same extent, pool tables, used pool tables can be found very cheap. I've been looking at pool tables for a while. I don't really have the space for it right now because everything's getting shifted around. I don't know where the final location of every piece of furniture is going to be, but you can get decent pool tables. You just have to time it and be watching the market for a few weeks to find something, hit the market and scoop up a good deal.
Well, I found one for $800.
Dude, $100, $150, $200.
Yeah, but you want a good one. Like you want one that's got actual slate.
I completely agree with you. Sorry, you found one for $800 and
it's disassembled, which means that the transportation would be relatively easy because at least like it's all in parts, so I could probably fit it in my car. Now it's going to be heavy, but it's not going to be like bulky.
Yeah.
But putting the pool table back together is not easy.
Because you have to, unless you do it upside down.
No, because the thing, like when it's disassembled, you've got 3 pieces of slate. So you got end piece, middle piece, end piece, and they all fit together, but they're not notched. It's just slabs of slate. So, like once you build up the frame, you put the slate on top of it, and then you push the slate together as close as you can, and there's screw holes that you'll have it to mount into the frame, but there's a gap between the slates, which so you have to get some spackle and like get the slate perfectly level, and you also have to make sure that like that little seam between the 2 blocks of slate is 100% perfectly smooth.
Yeah.
Also,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Also, the felt on the table you have to put on.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do if you haven't done it before, because it has to be pulled tight. It has to be like perfectly smooth, no wrinkles or anything else like that. And you have to like get it fit to like the pocket holes and like the cut so that the pockets sit on top of it properly and don't bunch.
Let me tell you, there's certain things that are worth paying someone else to do, because you're going to do it yourself, and just every time you look at it, you're just gonna be like, fuck, it's just going to make you miserable looking at it. Did I tell you earlier, I'm replacing glass on the house, and when
I called you on my way to Walmart.
Yeah. So I bought this plate glass, and I have a glass cutter, and I'm cutting the glass. I don't have a great surface to work on, so that doesn't help, but I'm cutting the glass, and then you have to like bend the glass and hope that the crack line basically holds and it doesn't kind of fault and just bring a crack in it.
I thought there was like a method where you like kind of like tap it.
There is, but a lot of times when you tap it, it doesn't follow the fault line that you want, that you've etched into it. So that's what I've been running into, is like it'll end up taking like 3 inches out of the bottom right corner, and I'm just like, fuck. And I bought like 5 or 6 pieces of glass, so.
And you're down to 2.
I'm down to 2. Not very happy about that. So let me ask, in the house, you got hardwood floors, you got carpet. Looks like carpet behind you.
Carpet in the bedrooms. There's tile for some of the hallways, and then the entire house is on a concrete slab, so no crawl space or anything like that.
Okay.
And then like the living room and the kitchen, I think, is hardwood floor on top of concrete.
Okay. Cool. I like carpeting in the bedrooms, actually. I just, as long as it's clean and it's in good shape, I think it's nice to have carpeting in the bedrooms. It's just more comfortable when you're barefoot, which is the preferred way to be. You don't want to wake up out of bed and put your feet on a cold hardwood floor. That's my thinking on it. So
yeah.
And anytime I've ever had a hardwood floor in the bedrooms, I put down a rug on the sides of the bed. So.
The only thing that like at some point I'm gonna have, like, carpet wears out. So like the carpet in here is not super new, but it's not super old. It's probably at
Mhm.
like the mid span of its life. So I'd give it 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And so that means that in like 3 or 4 years, I'm going to have to pull everything out of my bedroom to have the carpet replaced. I don't care about the cost of it. I care more about the headache of having to like move everything in my bedroom.
Yeah, I get that. All right, and then it looks like you got white trim and a light gray on the walls. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's kind of like a grayish beige. The bathroom is like a gray. It's kind of like the lighting in here doesn't do a great job, but yeah, it's like a beige.
So then let me ask you this: are you planning to do painting?
Nope.
Because I feel like painting is probably like the number one thing people do when they move in. Like that's probably the easiest way to kind of make a space your own. So you're not doing any painting though.
Nope. I'm gonna be putting up all my posters and crap.
You'll be dorm roomizing your bedroom.
Yeah, I said I was going to last week. What makes you think I changed my mind in 4 days?
I know that's I think we should hire you an interior designer.
No.
We could start a GoFundMe and hire you an interior designer.
Donate it to somebody who needs it and who will appreciate it.
The second part was key there. All right, so all right. Anything else home decor wise that you're doing?
At this point, we're not even ready to assess how we want to decorate the place, really, because we need to. The first thing I need to do is get the rest of my stuff out of my apartment. I'm like 90% of the way there, but there's still the remaining 10% that needs to get moved.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's take all this kind of stuff,
yeah,
and situate it properly, and just get everything organized and get started on the right, like, get started positively, where things are clean and organized, and it's a lot easier to keep things clean than to have to clean up a mess.
Yeah, I get you.
And we've got contractors coming back tomorrow to finish off a couple different projects. The big one is getting the range hood completely working so that it vents outside.
It's oh yeah, you told me you're gonna do that. Yeah, the thing about moving in is like you really get to know a new place, and when you're looking, there's you kind of overlook some things, or you're like, oh, that won't bother me that much. But once you're in there full time, like some of that stuff just drives you absolutely crazy.
So far there really haven't been any nasty surprises here. I'm surprised how smooth everything has been. There's a couple small things that need to be replaced and fixed up, but there's nothing where I was like, wow, that's going to be a big problem down the line.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. All right, look, so I hit most of these headlines. I didn't have any major headlines.
What's your take on the whole Matt Gaetz Florida thing?
Fill me in a little bit.
Florida congressman, one of Trump's biggest supporters, is currently under investigation under federal sex trafficking.
I didn't. I saw some headlines. So like I told you, I haven't been listening to the news.
I'll tell you what.
But
Derv has lots of commentary on this one. Let's bring him in on it on Thursday,
okay.
and he can talk about what's going on with Matt Gaetz. Because, so my personal opinion is the dude's human garbage, and I would love to see him spend 10 plus years in jail.
Yeah,
and it's really satisfying to watch because it's just like if you take all the negative stereotypes about a frat boy or whatever, he's just kind of a distillation of that, of all the negative bro culture crap, coupled with blind obedience to Trump and Trumpism.
But he's also into sex trafficking.
Like well, yeah, because the sex trafficking charges is he had allegedly had a relationship with a 17-year-old girl, and paid for her travel. And as soon as she crossed state lines, now it becomes federal.
But so she traveled. But it's bullshit, though. Yeah, that's fucked up. But calling it sex trafficking, I don't necessarily think is the way you're going to sell that to the public. When I think of sex trafficking, I think it's something completely different. Now,
right, but the point is, like, the way that the law is written, it's she was underage, and he had a relationship with her, and when he paid for her travel, as soon as she crossed state lines, it triggers the law for sex trafficking. So
Yes, I get that. I get that. And it is sex trafficking, and it's sex trafficking of minors, which is the most fucked up part. I think when you say sex trafficking, though, you're leaving out the fact that he was. I think it literally like diverts your attention to the fact that he was.
There's so much
with,
more to the story than this. This is just
Okay,
scratching
well-
the surface. There's all sort, and I don't want to spoil too much because the Derv will have a cow. But we'll talk about this on Thursday because, and I'll even tell Derv, like, we're going to spend like the first 10 or 15 minutes just talking about how shitty of a person Matt Gates is.
Well, I feel like that may be more relevant. Character defamation may be more relevant to the topic here than character defamation for George Floyd. Although maybe that's my personal bias that you shouldn't be defaming George Floyd's character.
Generally, you don't speak ill of the dead.
That's exactly. But I don't know. Dude, all right. I'm running out of stuff here because
Well, we can wrap and then I can resume on my laptop so I can give you a video tour.
let's do that. Do you guys have an IKEA down there in the South?
And I believe the nearest IKEA is either Charlotte or Atlanta.
Oh shit, that's far. I went to IKEA last night. Wooden experience, man. I have. Let me just run through this because we got a couple minutes to fill here, and I want to shed some light on the IKEA experience. So IKEA, I'm a little Swedish, and I'm fascinated by the Swedish culture and kind of the Norwegian lifestyle. And every time I go to IKEA, I have this relationship, and I just I watch myself experience the relationship. So I go to IKEA, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cheap bullshit. Like, it's poor construction, it's really cheap crap, and they just they bring it in on ships and they ship it out to people's apartments, and people got to deal with the headache of just buying shitty furniture. And then I go in and I'm like, oh, this Malm dresser is actually really nice. This clitoris wardrobe is really nice. They have all these weird names on
How did you find it?
What do you mean, IKEA?
No, that particular wardrobe.
The clitoris wardrobe, the clitoris wardrobe. Now they just have all these weird Swedish names that I can't pronounce. But so I start walking to the store. I'm like, wow, this Flugenmeissen lamp is a very, very nice. This Flugenmeissen must be a very good designer. So then I start like looking at the piece. I'm like, wow, it's actually really nice stuff. You see how they styled this 40 square foot home here, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I could get down, I could see this in my house, I could see this in my bedroom. And then you go through the store and you're like, oh, they have the Swedish meatballs here. That's like some Swedish meatballs. I think I'll get some of those. I was actually the kitchen, the dining area, the little cafeteria area was closed. I was so bummed. I went at the end, I bought frozen Swedish meatballs. But look, so here's
the
what
only
happened.
person I know who does their grocery shopping at IKEA.
They tore you through the stuff, and it's like really seriously nice looking stuff, and it's designed very nicely. And then you're like, oh, I like this Swedish minimalistic lifestyle. I need to buy as much as possible. And you wander through the store a little more, and then at the end they have this shop where you get like, so in the beginning you just take you get this paper and you get these little golfing pens that are like, or pencils that are like half-size pencils with no eraser, because God forbid you write something, you change your mind, you buying it no matter what. You record all the numbers, and then at the very end, right before you cash out, you go to the warehouse and you have to, and you get all the different things. So there might have been one like wardrobe, for example, and then you have to buy the sides of the wardrobe, and that'll be one box down one aisle. And then you have to buy the back of the wardrobe, and that's down another aisle, but that back of that wardrobe will work for 8 other pieces. So that's why you're buying them separately. And then you have to buy the doors of the wardrobe, and there's a whole aisle or 2 full of doors. And you have to go to the right area in the aisle, and then you get the door. You have to do this all yourself. Some of this shit is fucking heavy. So you got to like get it all, and you load it on your cart, which the carts now change, because I'm skipping the marketplace section. The carts in the marketplace are regular carts, although they're huge. Once you get to this area, the warehouse area, they're dollies. They're just giant. They're just like plate, like the Home Depot kind of carts. So you
just stack stuff on them.
Yeah.
Like
So
flatbeds.
So you see all these people pushing like 3 of these things around. And I want to back up to the marketplace. And so you go to the marketplace, and the marketplace is like all the furnishings that they had in the rooms. So the warehouse is where you get the bigger pieces like furniture and chairs and tables and beds and sofas, outdoor furniture. The marketplace is where you can get the forks and the knives and the plates and the cups and the artwork and the plants that they stage in the different IKEA rooms. So it's stuff that you can basically fit into a cart. And I grabbed the cart last night because I'm like, well, maybe it'll be something I like. And I realized as I was backing the cart out of the stall, I haven't used carts in a long time because in Manhattan, you get the little hand trolley, and when that gets heavy, you're like, all right, I'm not going to carry more than this home, and you walk out. But since I've been grocery shopping in the suburbs, I've been pushing around a cart. The cart at IKEA was enormous, which to me, I was thinking like, oh, this must be a way to get people to buy more than they're expecting because it's an oversized cart. Either way, I walked through. We ended up buying a few different plants, just some little plants. And then we got to the warehouse section, didn't buy any furniture. And then I went right through and I bought some Swedish meatballs. All right. So you leave the store, you got to load your car. Now, hopefully you estimated what you bought to fit into your car. If not, there's generally a bunch of people like taxi drivers and TLC guys that are outside, like offering to help you deliver the stuff to your house.
Vultures.
But really a smart idea, because I've had that issue before where I bought more. I mean, I drove a Porsche for many years, and I would like just take the top down in fucking December and fill up the car with as much stuff I could hold on there. One time, Adam, we had an IKEA shelf, and the shelf didn't seem like it was that long, but then I tried to put it in the car, and it literally fit nowhere in the car. So it went from the front, it was over the windshield, and then it just stuck over the car. And I had no way to hold on to it. So I took my belt off and I tied it around the shelf and said, Adam, hold on to this like your life depends on it, because it might. So here's what happens. So you get all this shit home, and then you have to build the furniture. And
the directions are notoriously difficult.
The directions don't have any words because they ship this stuff across the earth. So there's no language. You just have these kind of Smurf looking people, and they're kind of doing the actions. And
aren't like some of the drawings like done by MC Escher?
I don't know. That would be.
Do you know the reference?
No. What does he do?
MC Escher drew a whole bunch of like. He's famous for like the picture of like the hand drawing the other hand, and like the house that has like the stairs going all different directions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just like I've heard that some of the directions are just like, how is it that this thing can fit in three different places? It's two sides and it fits in three different places. How does that happen?
I doubt that it's him, but like, and I get the reference.
No, MC Escher's dead. It's the idea.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Fucking A. All right, but there's these little cartoony guys, and the directions are confusing as fuck. And you have like so many different screws. And the biggest issue, and here's where I fall out of love with IKEA, because I get that you got to put it together yourself. But for the most part, at the end of the day, it's all like particle board. So if you fuck something up, or if you got your electric drill and it's on drill mode rather than the appropriate torque setting, which they're not going to tell you anyways, torque setting is like, it'll kind of stop screwing once it's reached a certain tightness. When you have it on drill, it just keeps going. So you can over tighten something and it will just destroy the particle board. And then you basically have to scrap the entire piece of furniture.
But you can buy just that piece again, right?
Well, yeah, but it usually isn't just one piece. Like it'll come multiple pieces, and then there's no shipping. It's not like, I don't think they have much of an online store. I think nowadays you can order some things online, but for the most part, they don't have like a shipping setup. You have to actually go to the store and you have to buy the stuff and load it up. And trust me, I was having flashbacks last night for all the bullshit that I bought for the office and had to assemble. Sometimes I just hire people to assemble it because it is such a pain in the ass. And that is where I fall out of love with IKEA. So it's like slowly like degrading my relationship, where you have to like load the car, load your cart, unload the car, carry it into your place. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still good. Like I still like it's, it's this, Norwegian, Swedish, minimalistic lifestyle. You know, all this stuff is eco-friendly. And I'm like, yeah. And you know, the reason it's cheap is because not because it's bad, it's crappy quality, but because you do it all yourself. You know, you got to
Well,
load
it's
the
also
car.
mass produced and kind of modular.
Well, but you know, but I'm kind of rationalizing still at this point. Like, oh well, you know, it's not bullshit cheap furniture. It's just good prices because you have to do most of it yourself. Whereas other products, that is built into the cost. You know, you don't have to load it into your car and pick it up and buy the different boxes. But either way, then I get it home and I start assembling it, and you know, nonetheless, I'm gonna fuck some shit up, break something, and then I just got this wobbly piece of furniture for fucking eternity until I get over it and you know, decide to throw the thing
So
out.
I want you to guess on a 0 to 100% scale. What are the odds of me ever going to IKEA?
Yeah, unless I bring you, probably 0. Or a girl. You might go with a girl.
Why in the world would I go with a girl?
Because it's an experience, James. You get to experience. You get to experience, and it truly is an experience. And this is why
There's so many other experiences that I could have with a girl that would be less disappointing.
I'm telling you, I generally, because the ending point of every new relationship with IKEA is a bad one. Like every time I'm either throwing away furniture that's broken, or
so just like a girl.
Or yeah, but like that's why you shouldn't get back together with an ex, because like it's not going to work out.
Right. So I'm going to learn from your mistakes and not date your ex.
But then you go. I ended up being the reason I was at IKEA was in the same parking lot to go to this tile store yesterday, and I was like, well, let's just go through IKEA, and then I fell in love. I'm like, oh, this is some good stuff here. All right. On that note, let's wrap up. James, let me disconnect with you right now. Everybody live, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, let me fire up the laptop.
And we will talk to you guys on live soon. Thank you again all for joining. And please excuse me awkwardly signing off of online because that's tough. James, I'll send you another link.
Yep.
See you. That marks the end of the episode. Thank you guys for joining. That's my coronavirus update, that noise. I'll see you guys in the next episode. I think we're going to be talking about pet peeves. So DM me, email me, text me in the meantime. Let me know what your biggest pet peeves are once again.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.